So I think the biggest misunderstood part about recovery actually starts with your programming.
Okay.
Right. So it's like, how much can you recover from based off of your lifestyle, right? Like you guys work in 9 to 5, guys work in construction, they all go in to kind of do the same work. So
okay.
Like you need to program differently because stress is like an aggregate, right? Stress is stress. So you got to be able to like curate your exercise selection, your volume, your intensity to whatever other stress you have going on, right? And so like in a professional athlete setting where they can kind of control all their outside stressors for the most part, like you got to be able to program to what they can handle, right? So all these modalities of like, I'm going to sit in the sauna and all this is like, yeah, but a sauna is not going to out recover like either under or over prescribing exercise, right? It's not like I'm going to really bury that, like drop the hammer on a workout and then I'm going to go sit in the sauna that day and I'm going to.
And then you're good.
Yeah, no, that's a bit of a myth, right? So I think the most underutilized recovery tool is actually proper exercise programming. Right, because you're going to be able to calculate and quantify the stress more accurately that you're putting on your body that you need to recover from. Everyone's like, I'm going to go in the steam room, or I'm going to go in the sauna, or I'm going to put these boots that squeeze my legs and some whatever. And it's like, I'm going to do all this stuff. I'm going to take all this gear. I'm going to take all these supplements. And it's like, well, can you actually quantify the stress that you're accumulating in the gym first? Right. So it's like most people don't go into the detail of like exercise programming and furthermore down to the granular detail of exercise execution, which is like, how can I quantify his lunges that we were doing yesterday if every rep looked dramatically different? Right. So like how can we first pre-qualify each movement in the workout?
Every one of Alex's reps look dramatic.
Well, no different than yours. Like there's a skill to it, right? But it's like, no, like we're all on the same level, right? Like, and we kind of broke this down.
We're not.
Some of us are better.
But it's like,
Mark,
even me, like I've been training for 15 years. Like this is my whole job is to break down the granular detail, and I still have to go in and there's moves or exercise I have to practice. Right? So there's a skill to exercise that pre-qualifies quantification. So everyone's like, I did 4x10 at this. I went for 200-pound YOLO too many circle PR on bench press.
I did.
Right. But it's like, you didn't because
in winter solstice.
Right. That bouncing off the
heaviest.
chest is a different 200 pounds than if you
solstice.
pause on your chest.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I think recovery is like, what are you recovering from? And that's the biggest thing. And like, that's kind of the fun thing from pro. Like you asked me originally, like, hey, why do you train us and then go train NFL players?
Yeah.
Because it's like, they're so much easier to program for.
Yeah.
Because like I know what the rest of the day is. They usually all got Twitch streams. They sit with their feet up with their Versace slides.
So you can kill them because you know that they're going to relax.
Because I control everything. Right? Where it's like he's going to come in. He'll hit me up at like 4 a.m. Like, dog, I'm still not asleep.
Yeah.
But he'll fucking soldier in 2 hours later, like on no sleep. He's a dog. But it's like, and that for me is like, you can program for an athlete, especially on off season, but you need to like coach guys like you, right? So like programming is very binary. Like exercise programming is very binary. These guys move really well, and that's not exclusive for all pro athletes, but I can kind of write an off season program and stick more to an off season program with a pro athlete because their variables are pretty well controlled. Right? Maybe they're in a contract negotiation, they got to go try out for a team or something. But other than that, chilling. Right? They make fucking $22 million in 17 weeks. They're just living off the interest. But it's like, yo, man, we just got in from Phoenix last night, going through it, tired. So I got to be on the fly. So it's actually way more difficult in certain ways to like coach someone who has a more dynamic lifestyle. Where pro athletes are almost like they're very binary. They're computerized. Like they're robots. They're built or put on this planet to do one thing: catch a football, run with a football, tackle a guy, kick a football. So it's like I can kind of sit back with like all my other variables controlled and be, oh, here's the roadmap. You know, we got 35 weeks in the off season. Here's how we do mesocycles, microcycles, macrocycles. I can sit there and just kind of beautifully
like doing bits versus doing crowd work. Or crowd work. You don't know what the variables are. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you gotta read the room.
Figuring out in the moment.
Right.
And then it's like, yeah, I've done this 1,000 times. Here's your program.
So that's the fun thing for me, and that's the proof of concept because it's like once you get to a certain level. Like you're not like if you were just doing Netflix specials and like you were just running, and I'm probably gonna fuck this analogy up because I don't know your world that well. But it's like if you're just running Netflix specials and like everyone loves you and you're not doing those like Wednesday night improv bits.
You're not sharpening the muscle.
That's what that is for me. That's what you guys are for me because it's like I have an intent of the workout. Like I want to do some lower body skill movement. I want to train some upper body output. But some days upper body output with Akaash is going to be dumbbells because he got 4.5 hours of sleep. And for him, that's a lot. It was like, oh, but today it's like, yo, he's already showing me signs of fatigue early on in the session when we're practicing our skill. That skill is breaking down. I gotta now change my approach, but still drive the same stimulus. So rather than like a dumbbell press, like let's go to something more external.
We were squatting heavy yesterday, and I mean PR.
Yeah, that was well, even with Alexx in real time.
Big circles, bro. Big circles.
Who's the best natural athlete of all of us?
Oh, let's go.
Oh, so I mean, athleticism. That's a really good question because athleticism.
That's a great question.
Right.
Wait, real quick to put the recovery question in dummy terms for me.
Right.
The most important part of recovery is working out smarter. Essentially, more structured.
Yeah, okay, so I don't like that language because it's like to your nerd point earlier. Is like there's been a movement for a long time, and maybe like social media was kind of driving this, or like the late night TV Bowflex, fucking whatever P90X stuff. Lit. But it's like it's basically Barry's boot camp in your living room.
Yep.
But it's like the intelligent movement was like this revenge of the nerds in fitness, where everyone's like, oh, you got to train smarter, not harder. It's like, yeah, no, you should probably still be laying on the floor. Right, like I think when people think about training smart, they get soft. Right, there's a way where it's like, yeah, we can know like what do you call it, the Euphrates, or whatever the fuck.
Tigris,
yeah,
the Tigris, and then there's the Euphrates.
It's your middle knee.
Connect to your upper dorsimus. Yeah, it's all really complicated.
This is
but
denial.
It's like you can know that and then still.
Yeah, it is denial.
And still go there. I think when people start to train smart, they just don't go there anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, and part of it, it's like putting people in positions where they can feel safe to go there. So like we practice skill. So we did lunges first.
Yeah.
And it's like that was a skill, and like we manipulated like his field of vision. So we blocked him from seeing his foot, and we had him focus on seeing his foot. And we tried to play on like these ways to develop athleticism. And then after that, we're like, yo, let's hunt. Sit on a leg press, grab the fucking handles, breathe at this point, and just go until you can't go anymore. Right. So it's like you got to be able to play into that. So to your point about athleticism, like who's the best natural athlete, you got to define the word first.
Who's the best soccer player? We can start there.
Well, and so here's my default, right? Because athleticism is going to favor more than just pure strength, right? So I would say the most difficult sport from a coordination standpoint, and
basketball.
No. So I would give it to him. No,
let's go, boys.
No. So athleticism is like I think you got to try and define athleticism first. How would you guys define athleticism?
Whatever I'm the best at.
Right. Okay. So that'd be like boxing. Like you're the best boxer in the room, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Well.
Right. But like they're subcomponents to athleticism. Like when you have the GOAT conversation, right? The greatest athlete of all time. It's like, what does athleticism mean? Right. So there's so many subcomponents of athleticism. Like strength is a part of athleticism, speed, agility, endurance, power.
What about engine?
Engine?
Yeah. Like being able to keep going.
Like endurance. That's endurance.
Oh, endurance?
Right. Engine.
What about heart?
Who tell you that
Put some circles on my engine.
I think you meant like Native American.
Gotta
Like
bring it back to the basics, bro. Let me bring it back to the basics.
Yeah, so Akaash brings up a point about intangibles.
Yeah.
Right? But I would say like
what is intangible?
Intangibles is like
is that a
how much
caste
are you
of
willing?
Indians? Bro, those are the intangibles, dog. You can't even touch them, motherfucker.
We do have intangibles, actually. When you think about it, we do have intangibles.
you don't think about them.
We got some slave labor in Jersey, actually.
Depending.
That's his story. Yeah.
Depending on like what subset of athleticism you value, that's usually how people rank their GOAT, right? Like, what do you value speed over power, right? Well, then Usain Bolt is the best athlete of all time, right? Like, do you develop do you value coordination above all else, right? Then you might look at some sort of gymnast or something like. Do you value endurance? Then Lance has to enter into the conversation, right? So for me, especially working with like primarily pro NFL or pro football or NFL guys, I think there's some subsets of athleticism that people miss, like rhythm. Rhythm to me is one of like the most important subsets of athleticism.
God damn it, dude.
Like, you're gonna,
Who got the best rhythm here? Who got the best rhythm? Be honest.
I haven't
It's
really.
not Al. It's not Al for sure.
Be honest.
It's not Al.
Son, you know
it's
it.
not Al. It's not
Be
Mark.
honest.
It's one
So
of
like
us.
I'm gonna give it to you because I've seen you hit the speed bag.
Why?
Let's
all-
go!
There's just rhythm to it.
No,
So
Let's go!
it's task dependent, right? And I don't think you can necessarily like cross pollinate these concepts.
Can't cross pollinate them.
But
There's nothing y'all
rhythm,
could do.
I think,
This
is
guy trips
There's
over his
nothing
feet
y'all
every
could do.
fucking day.
But I do it with
Have
rhythm.
you seen these fucking
I
flippers?
do it
It's
with
like
rhythm.
Scuba Steve walking.
It's-
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's the
I'm
worst.
Scuba
The
Steve at
shoes
your
he trains in
service.
Are so dumb.
Wait, what shoes? Oh, I know.
The ones that you got the
It's the
2
red
inch of
ones.
plastic.
It's the red ones with the thick
they're
sole.
so bad.
What?
You gotta get.
I can't
you
wear
gotta
my
get new
pumps
joints.
to the workout. Son.
Akaash
I'm wearing my
throws the
pumps to
best
the pump, bro. What does Akaash wear?
So we went barefoot yesterday, which was good.
Oh God,
No.
I'm not
Those
coming
feet?
back to
No,
his
that
camp,
was-
bro.
we did that
I'm
yesterday
not
too.
Akaash
coming
was
back
in his
to-
element right
I-
there.
Just walk up, figure it out.
Son, was he hanging from the bar from his feet, son?
Right, he went upside down, fucking grab that shit like a sloth.
But yeah, so like for me, with the population that I work with, primarily athleticism comes down to rhythm. Like there's a rhythm to pro football, and you see it. Like you ever in a college weight room, you ever with the pros, music's blaring, they're all like dancing in between sets, and then they'll catch balls in between a dance move. And it's like, oh, that's something that we don't consider.
That's something we don't consider, and it's something we should consider, bro. I've been telling these motherfuckers forever about this shit. That's one of my biggest criticisms of Fernando.
No
It's 'cause
rhythm.
I look at that mother like, listen, you fat fuck. Listen here. Listen here. Listen. Yeah,
You know,
listen here.
Someone from Brazil
Listen
can
here.
get
You
your
said
boy
you would
here.
pay me $250 to make fun of him. You said you would do this. Fernando, it's all on him. It's all on him. I don't even know who you are, but I love you. But yeah, man, I keep on harping on the fact that it's about rhythm, bro.
Right.
And he's got to get his rhythm down.
Al don't have
Rhythm is Al has
Al
no
can't even
rhythm.
dance in a fashion video. Which
Son,
motherfucker?
That's a great point. Yeah.
It's embarrassing.
White people
bro.
dancing. I can't do that shit.
Oh,
but like,
now white
there's
people
difference
want to
between
dance.
athleticism and what we do in
And
the
what
gym,
we do in the
too,
gym.
right?
That's very true. I always say that.
I've heard him say it. I got it from him.
Yeah, I say that all the time. It's a difference between athleticism and what we do in the gym, Al. When you're in the gym, you're in a fucking doghouse. Okay? And you need to come bring it, bro. You need to come bring some rhythm.
Yeah.
You out here doing lunges like a giraffe. That's what Jordan Shallows told me. He said, Al does lunges like a giraffe.